We have a reading at bbc.com entitled The Anxieties and Apps Fueling the Astrology Boom. In any case, the author begins. So many are newly turning to astrology, but why? A perfect storm of factors has driven a surge in looking to stars for the truth. Charm Torres, an astrologer in Toronto, Canada, has seen a surge of interest in her services since the beginning of the COOF. While she's had to put in-person consultations on hold, she's held virtual sessions with hundreds of clients, mostly from North America, though some from as far as her native Philippines. Many of them millennials like herself. Some have lost loved ones to the virus. Some are searching for a new career after losing restaurant or entertainment jobs. Others are thriving with so much time at home. What they share is a desire for support, for connection and self-knowledge. When the COOF brought many parts of life to a screeching halt that year, explains Torres, people were forced to really sit down with themselves and reflect on what their life was about and where their head was. End quote. Across the world, interest in Western astrology was already experiencing something of a renaissance. In the years leading up to the COOF, its soaring cachet among young people, fueled by Instagram meme accounts, venture capital-backed astrology apps like CoStar and Sanctuary, and the destabilizing years of the Trump presidency and Brexit, according to this author. But 2020 seems to have stoked the fire. And this is Charm Torres herself, Canadian astrologer. According to Google Trends, searches for birth chart and astrology both hit 5-year peaks in 2020, and many professional astrologers report that business took off under lockdown. TikTok, the year's fastest-growing app in terms of monthly active users, introduced a generation of newcomers to the language of the zodiac and made internet celebrities of its most successful astrological accounts. A new vanguard of astrologers, younger and more diverse than the industry has ever known before, emerged on social media. Perhaps it is no wonder that so many people who were not interested in astrology are turning to the stars for guidance now. For much of the world, the past years have been those of few earthly comforts. Hugs have been scarce, jobs have been lost, and every day brings news of more human suffering. Torres believes astrology has a way of getting us to be more connected to life, to something bigger than us, at a time when we feel really disconnected from everyone and everything. But while this sense of disconnection may be behind the current wave of astrological truth-seeking, other factors, technological innovation, the changing beliefs of millennials and Generation Z, laid the groundwork well before the pandemic began. A 2019 IBIS World Report estimated that the size of the U.S. psychic services industry, a category that also includes services like fortune-telling and tarot reading, is at $2.2 billion. But the uptick in interest this past years means that figure is almost certainly on the rise. For followers of astrology, its move towards the mainstream during a period of crisis makes perfect sense. And here's a quote from Carolyn Goldstein, a writer in New York City. I think that people are so desperate to find meaning and patterns, and a way out of this, to know that we're not stuck in the moment, says Caroline Goldstein, 28, a writer in New York. And astrology inherently follows planetary cycles. So you look at the astrology, and you can see that similar patterns have happened in the past. This is always a unique moment, but there's always a precedent for what's going on. I think that certainly gives me comfort. A few years ago, looking to immerse herself more into the field, Goldstein booked a birth chart reading with Jeff Hinshaw, a favorite local astrologer and podcaster. Birth chart readings are a popular first choice for the astrology curious and delve far beyond what you might learn from a newspaper's daily horoscope. Using a map of the sky at the moment of a client's birth, to draw connections to their personality, motivations, purpose, and trajectory in life. Rather than tell all Capricorns to look out for business opportunities, or all Geminis to avoid romantic squabbles, this kind of consultation is individual and complex, referencing the sun, the moon, and rising signs, which is the zodiac sign on the eastern horizon at the moment of birth, as well as the placement of the inner and outer planets. Goldstein was drawn to the system of charts and transits several years ago through her broader interest in non-monotheistic spiritual practices. Like many of her peers, she found astrology to be an intriguing way of looking at the world, one far less dogmatic than organized religion. It never claims to be the one truth, she says. It just provides a language to understand your own truth. It's the language, it's not the book itself. According to the Pew Research Center, more than 60% of American millennials believe in New Age spirituality, though the group is less likely than previous generations to believe in God or see religion as an important part of their life. For some, these alternative systems may be a way to fill the void. Another quote here from Chris Brennan, a Denver, Colorado-based astrologer and host of the Astrology podcast. Astrology traditionally has been on the outs with both science and most mainstream religions like Christianity, which puts it in a weird position in society where it's neither wholly scientific nor wholly religious. Chris Brennan continues, and sometimes for people that find themselves either looking for a bridge between the two, or looking and not fully finding answers in either, astrology may appear like a useful middle ground. Believing in astrology, in that case, may be somewhat beside the point. For many fans, it's a subject of curiosity, a tool for introspection, and a means of contextualizing their feelings and struggles as part of something larger than themselves. It's no wonder, then, that many people lean on astrological vernacular in psychological counseling, explaining a partner's hot and cold tendencies as the afflictions of a Gemini moon, or a major career change as the inevitable upheaval of their Saturn return.